Hello, everyone. I would like to thank you for joining us for the Math202 Getting Started webinar. My name is Jacob Varney, Instructional Designer for IvyOnline and Project Manager for the most recent redevelopment of Math202 for IvyOnline. Math202 was just recently developed for its first delivery in IvyOnline over the spring. It was developed by Karis Wegman and Carrie Huffman. They are the current mentors for the course, and we'll have their contact information at the end of the presentation in case you might be in need of any assistance with the way that the course is set up. But joining me today is Eli Bernard from Pearson. He'll be demonstrating how you'll go about preparing the platform for the semester and answer any questions that you might have afterward about that. We had some technical difficulties with actually getting a course demo set up, but we should have a recording that will be cut somewhere, perhaps either right here or after Eli does his demonstration. That way you can kind of see the actual setup itself. But Eli's going to go ahead and walk through it. He might point out some specific things that you might want to be on the lookout for as you get this set up.
I am going to now set up an IvyOnline class for this video. It's going to be a Math 137 class. I want to try and capture the steps that I go through when I set up a class. There may be better ways to set up a class, but these are the things I do. Some of them I've learned just by trial and error. So I'm going to try and share my screen, and hopefully you will now see this is my IvyLearn dashboard. Here are published courses. I'm talking to you now in the late spring of 2021. So these are classes I finished, but under unpublished, I have this course here. Math 137-10P, I was assigned this class, and it is shown up now on my dashboard, and I have not done any setup with this class at all. So I'm going to try and step through the way I set up this class, and that may be of help to some of you. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and go into this class. And the first thing I do is I'm going to go in, let me tell you what I'm going to do, and then we'll do it. This is a math class, and all the homework problems, quiz problems, and the exams, the actual problems are contained in the Pearson product Mymathlab. So really we have two things going on. We have the Canvas product, which we call IvyLearn, which is, I guess, what we call a learning management system, right? IvyLearn this is what you're looking at now. But at the same time, we also have the, now I'm going to confirm, because I'm using Zoom and I was told that there should be I'm going to confirm that I'm in fact sharing what I'm looking at. Okay, so what worries me is they said normally when you share, you have a green screen around. So my apologies for this. Well, I'm going to keep going, and I'm hoping you can see what I'm describing. So anyway, so we have two issues here. We have all the problems really contained in Mymathlab, and then we have, of course, the class and then IvyLearn. So the first thing I'm going to do is I have to go into Mymathlab and create the class in Mymathlab, or really we're going to copy it. The class has already been created. We just have to sort of copy it and set it up. So nowadays we go over here on the left, you see this BNC bookshelf. So I'm going to choose it. Now, the very first time you click on this, here's what you should see. In the future times, as you manage this class, we're also going to click on BNC bookshelf. to get into the Mymathlab. At least that's the way I do it. So the first time, so anytime we're doing this, you always click on Launch Courseware. Now, since this is the very first time this class is not set up, you get this create a course screen. Now, let me back up for a second, because one thing we're going to need to do, the very first thing, so it looks like it by default has chosen a book and has a picture of it. But we need to actually have what's called a course ID. So right here, you see at the bottom of this page, refer to copy an existing course based on this material. And it says enter the course ID. That's what we're going to do. This course has already been created in Mymathlab. We're going to simply copy it. So you have to enter a code here. So what's the code? Well, the way you find the code is you have to go back to IvyLearn. So I'm going to go back here to IvyLearn. And I am now going to go into modules. All right, so here we go to modules. And in modules, under instructor resources, we have an instructor guide. Here it says MATH202 instructor guide. So I open that up. Now I'm just going to warn you occasionally, and I don't understand this very well. This is like a Google Doc or a Google document. Sometimes in the past, when people try to open up this guide, it doesn't open up. And for some crazy thing, what you have to do is, or at least what I found to work, is you have to go in and open up like your Gmail account, your Ivitech Gmail account. For some reason, if you just open that up and then you come back and try and open up this guide, then usually it opens. Why is that? I don't know. So anyways, what I'm doing, I'm looking for this course ID. I'm just going to scroll through this document. This is a little tricky because you get here under what's new, and you see this link here to Pearson Instructor Guide. As it turns out, that course ID is listed in this Pearson Instructor Guide. So if I click on it, and then I have to click on the link, it opens up another item, and this is called the instructor guide. Now this has lots of information, which I'm not going to go through now, because what I'm going to look for is there's a table down here. Here is this table, and these are all the IvyOnline classes, and next to it is the course ID. So here we go for Math202. It's designer. I'm going to copy this down. Designer 84080. So now I'm going to go back to this page, go back to this page in the Pearson Mymathlab where she asked me for the course ID. And I'm going to type in designer 84080. I'm going to look it up, and hopefully a class is going to pop up. So here it is, Math202 instructor course, and it's this same book. So we're going to go ahead and select this. Now it's going to ask me a few questions, a few pieces of information for this course. First of all, we're going to click, it's a student use course. So course name, I usually leave this one by default. Sometimes course description. Now I'm not sure where all these things show up, but sometimes I think it helps me. Sometimes I like to actually be able to easily see what's going on. So this is Math207-10P, and I'm going to put summer 2021. Now the course dates, what you want to do is you want to actually put today's date, because we're going to have to go in and do some work in the Mymathlab. If I left this default date of June 5th, then I would not be able to go in and edit the Mymathlab. So I'm going to put today's date. And obviously this course is going to end at the end of July. Right now it has October, which is fine because sometimes you might have occasions where you may have an incomplete or something else that needs to be done. You need to extend the course. So it's good to have some extra time at the end of the semester in case you have to do a little cleanup with some people. Instructors can copy the course. Sure. So create course. Now it says new courses may take up to 3 hours to create. You'll receive an email confirmation when the course is ready. Close the tab to return to Canvas. So now, basically you go to your email and you wait, and you should get an email from Pearson saying that the course is ready to go. It says 3 hours. My experience is it may take 5 to 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and pause this. I'm going to stop this share and then pause the recording. And as soon as I get my email confirmation, we'll start again and we can keep going. So right now I'm going to pause and look for that email. Okay, so we're back now. So like I said, that took all of 2 or 3 minutes. Let me just quickly show you the email. See if I can share my email. So you can see here from Pearson, dear Gary, you successfully created your course. You can now add links. So this just says, okay, the course is created. That's all I really want to know. So what I'm going to do now is to go ahead and I'm going to now go into Pearson, into Mymathlab, and I'm going to look at all the assignments, it's quizzes and homework and exams, and I'm going to put in the correct due dates. So this is the order I do it. As it turns out, we have to have due dates in both IvyLearn and Mymathlab. But I've learned that if I can go in and put in the due dates in the Mymathlab, then we have a method where we can go ahead and take the due dates from Mymathlab and automatically pull them in to IvyLearn. And then the dates will be automatically set. In other words, I don't have to go set all the dates twice. If I set up the dates, the due dates in Mymathlab, then I can pull those due dates into IvyLearn and I'll have to do it by hand. So let's do that. So now the job is, let's go into Mymathlab. The way I normally do it, I don't know if everybody does it, I go back to my my class in IvyLearn. So here it is, I'm in IvyLearn now. I'm going to go back to this B&C bookshelf. And it's going to come up with this, once again, launch courseware, which I'm going to choose. Except unlike the first time, now it's going to show me a different screen now that my class has been created. Now, once again, this is just the way I do things. I'm sure other people do things differently and there's even better ways, but my goal is just to get in. I actually want to get into the Mymathlab assignment manager because that's where we set the date. So I go down here and I click on Mymathlab assignment manager. So now we're in, actually they call it MyLab Math. I think they must have changed the name. A lot of us just call it Mymathlab. So here's a list. This is called the homework/test manager. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about how Mymathlab works, except just to say that this is a list of all the assignments that are contained in Mymathlab. You can see we've got module 01A homework, 01A quiz, 01B homework. So we go all the way down, we get to module 4. You see there's a midterm exam. Turns out for this class, it's broken up into 8 modules. But the key is these due dates obviously are not correct. These due dates are just random dates that when we copied this course, it just pulled in the due dates for that, which are not correct. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have a list of what your due dates are going to be for this class, and then we're going to go change all these. So let me show you how I change them, and then I might pause the recording and let it run. We'll see. It's just not real exciting once you see it. The nice thing is Mymathlab makes it not too painful to change due dates. If I go up to the top here, in this blue bar, I have change dates and assign status. So if I click on there, then there's another screen where, once again, it has all the different assignments and tasks, but it has a bit more information. Now, once again, I've learned just by trial and error. And what happens is, in this class, for me, you notice the first 4 assignments, module 01A homework, module 01A quiz, module 01B homework, module 01B quiz, and then it goes to module 02. The way this math class is structured, there are 4 assignments for module 1, and as it turns out, they are all going to be due on midnight on Sunday. So these first 4 assignments all have the same due date. So because of that, what I can do is I can go and I'm going to choose the 4 assignments in module 1. And I go to the top, and I'm now going to put in the due date for those first 4 assignments. And I got a little calendar here. Turns out for this class, it's going to be Sunday, June 13th, and by default, it's 11:59, which is midnight. And then right below it, it says apply to selected. See right now for this module 1A homework, right now it's set up for 8/13/21 and then 5/29. Sorry, that was my phone. Anyway, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and click on apply select, and you'll see that the 4 items that I have checked here, the due dates are all going to change to what I have here. So in a sense, I can change 4 at a time. So apply to selected, and then if I look, the 4 ones that are checked are right here. Now, I want to do the next 4. So the next 4 are the module 2 ones. Another quick way I found to, what I'm going to do is, if I click up here in this box up in the upper left-hand corner, that chooses all the boxes, which I don't really want. But then if I click it again, it unclicks them all. So that's a way to sort of clear everything out. So now I've cleared them all out. I'm going to now go and choose the 4 module 2 assignments. I go to the top, and I now set my date of when the module 2 assignments are going to be due, which is 6/20. And then I apply to selected. And then if I go look, I should see all the module 2 assignments now have the correct due date. So I'm going to go and pause this recording. I'm going to take the time to go put in the proper dates for all the rest of these assignments. And when I get that finished, we'll come back and continue. So let me stop the sharing, and I'm going to pause this. Okay, I'm back now. I have now put in all the correct due dates for all the assignments in Mymathlab. Let me go and share my screen, and I can show you that. So you can see here that you can see like module 2 is 6/20, module 3 is 6/27. Clear to enter the class, module 8 is like July 31st. Now on this page, you have to make sure I always click update all settings. I think if you click done, sometimes it doesn't save it. I think I've done that before. So update all settings. And now, if I go back to my homework and test manager, that initial list as just a quick confirmation, I can see I have 4 due dates for the module 1 stuff, 6/13. The module 2 stuff is all 6/20. The module 3 stuff is all 6/27. Module 4, now module 4 is a little different because the homework and the quiz and the test review problems are on 7/5, but the actual exam is due on 7/3. So, but then 5, 6, 7, it looks to me like all the dates now in Mymathlab are correct. So the whole point is I've now set all these dates, and I can now go back into IvyLearn, and I can now pull over this information and not have to reset all these due dates in IvyLearn. So here's how we do that. So let's go back now to my IvyLearn. And the way we do this, it's a feature, an operation I have called Gradesync. And we'll get to that in a minute. Gradesync. As a matter of fact, as you're teaching this class, whenever students have finished some assignments and you want to pull the grades from Mymathlab and put them in the IvyLearn gradebook, you're going to use Gradesync. So it's the same operation. But before we do that, we have to do one thing. In IvyLearn, I'm going to go to assignments, and you will see the categories of assignments for this class. Of course, the main ones are quizzes. So if you click on quizzes and you see 15% of the grade is made up of quizzes, and you'll see all these quizzes. Now, just so you know, these quizzes and these links are sort of left over or are part of the IvyLearn master shell. These are not really correct. You notice there's not even any due dates. So this is not really like we want it. And the same thing, if I can move this around, I'll move homework next. I look at the homework. It's like the names are there, but there should be due dates also listed here, which are not there. So this assignments page, and just so you know, test reviews, there are 2 test reviews. There are discussion boards. The discussion boards are actually contained in IvyLearn, nothing to do with Mymathlab. Midterm exam, and then the final exam. So here's what I'm going to do now. Let's do homework first. Now it's important, so I'm going to pull over, in the sense we call it syncing. I'm going to sync or pull over information and the homework assignments from Mymathlab and pull them in to IvyLearn. And I think what's going to happen, even though I've got all these homework assignments here, which have the correct names, they're not the correct dates. And even if I were to click on one of these, it's not going to take me, normally, if it's working correctly, if I click on this, it should take me in to the homework assignment in Mymathlab. Let's just see what happens. See, it goes into this create a course. This is like a default screen saying it doesn't, it's lost. It doesn't know really where to go. So that means that, you know, that item, once again, it's under assignments, that item right here is not really going to where it's supposed to go. And that's because it's almost like it's a dead link. It's not really a correct link. What I'm going to do is, in just a minute, I'm going to pull in all the information from Mymathlab. And then I can look here, and these items should all be active. Let's just do it, and then you can see. Now, the key thing is, you have to do these 1 type of assignment at a time. In other words, I am first going to go grab all the homework assignments, because the way the grade or the way this sync works, whatever I pull in to IvyLearn by default goes in this top group. This is called the homework group. So I can't pull everything in, because if I pulled everything in, all the homework, all the quizzes, the exams would all be put under homework. Now, yes, I can move them around, but that would be sort of a pain. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to, in a minute, perform my sync. We call it a grade sync, because normally we do it for grades. I'm going to perform the grade sync, but I'm only going to choose the homework assignments for this class. So once again, since I need to do this in Pearson in Mymathlab, so let me restate. I'm going to do the homework assignments. Homework's at the top. I go into BNC bookshelf. I go ahead, as always, I hit launch courseware. Now, oftentimes when you're going into work in Mymathlab, you just choose this assignment manager. But now I'm doing this grade sync. So I go up here and I choose Gradesync. Now, what Gradesync does, it goes in and it lists all the assignments that it sees in Mymathlab. You notice here are the 4 module 1 homework quizzes, the module 2. If you go to module 4, you got your exam. So this goes in and looks at the class in Mymathlab, and it lists all the assignments. What I'm going to do is I want to now, in a sense, pull over or sync only the homework assignment. So I go along here and I click on all the homework assignments. Because once again, in IvyLearn, whatever I sync or pull over is going to go up at the very top. I don't want to stick quizzes or exams in my homework group. So I'm going to choose all the homework assignments. So I think I've got them all. I go back to the top and I click on this blue box, Sync Grades Now. And if you look, it's like it's working. And then when it finishes, it'll say synced, and it gives you a running total. And I think there were 14 of them. So it's done. So now let's go back into IvyLearn. Let's go back into assignments. Now what I hope happens is when I look at homework, it's actually different, because you notice maybe the same title, but look here, it actually has a due date pulled in now. Look at the module 1 homeworks. There's 2 of them, module 1A and B, due date's June 13th. Look at the module 2A homeworks, due date June 20th, module 3A, 27th. So you notice it sort of pulled them in from Mymathlab, and it even brought in the due dates. And now if I click on one of these, it should actually open up the assignment in Mymathlab. So in a sense, this sort of jumped in to Mymathlab, and you see here's module 01A homework. It's due 6/13. These are the actual problems in Mymathlab. Remember before it was like a dead link. It gave you that screen talking about creating a course. Here it actually takes you into the homework. So it looks like that was a successful operation. So now, I've done the homework. I want to do quizzes next. So I can sort of close the homework group. I'm going to move quizzes to the top once again, because whatever I sync goes into the top. I'm now going to sync the quizzes. I need to move it to the top on my assignments page. And just to clarify once again, it has the names, but these are what I call dead links. We can try it just for fun. If I click on that, it should go into Mymathlab, and instead it does this create a course, because it's lost. It doesn't know where it's supposed to be. So now we're going to do a Gradesync, right? So Gradesync, you go to BNC Bookshelf, and you always click on Launch Courseware. And then I'm going to click on Gradesync. Let me pause for just a minute. Hello? Sorry about that. I'm in my office, so sometimes the phone rings and stuff. Let me go back to share my screen where we were. So now I'm going to do the Gradesync of the quizzes. So here we are. Click on Gradesync. Now I'm going to go down here. Here's my list of everything in Mymathlab. Now I'm going to choose all the quizzes. So I go along here, I click on all the quizzes. Once again, there's probably going to be maybe 14 of them or maybe 12. I'm not sure about the exact number. All right, I think I've checked them all. Go up here, sync grades now. Takes a few seconds. Goes pretty fast. Let's see how many there are. 14 again. It looks like they're all synced. So now let's go back into IvyLearn, back into assignments. And when I look under quizzes now, you notice Module 01A quiz, and it's got a due date, June 13. Module 01B quiz, June 13. And actually now, if I click on this, it should take me to Mymathlab, and it should look like the start of a quiz. And when you take a quiz in Mymathlab, this is what happens. Are you ready to start? Gives you some information, and you start because it's a timed quiz. So yes, now this is active. This is the correct link. This is taking me to the Module 01A quiz. So now I have the quizzes and homeworks in here. And what's nice is, well, let me finish. So test reviews, although there are only 2, let's go ahead and sync those in. So right now there are the 2 items, but these are not correct. So go through the same procedure, BNC Bookshelf. So it's like you have to go through this procedure for each group on your assignments page. But once again, it saves a lot of time. You don't have to do it by hand. So I'll do a Gradesync. Now I'm looking for those test reviews, which are like 04B test review and 08B test review. There are 2 of them. I'm going to sync them. Once again, the key was I moved the test review to the top of my assignments page. So it puts them in the top. The only thing left are really the exams. So let's move up my midterm, clear to the top. I'm going to Gradesync the midterm exam. It's only 1 midterm exam, but I still need to go through this procedure. Gradesync. Let me find the midterm exam, 04B midterm exam. And 1 item synced. I can go check it. If I go back to assignments. There it is. It's got the date once again. If I were to see if it takes me to Mymathlab. In this case, when students take a test, the first thing is enter the password. So yes, this is actually modules are for midterm exam. This is the exam. All right, so let's go back and sync up the final exam. So once again, the procedure is I've got to move the final exam up to the top. And then I'm going to BNC Bookshelf and do my Gradesync. So launch courseware. And Gradesync. Let's go find the final exam way down here toward the bottom. We'll sync grades now. Let's go back and just confirm. And there it is. Now I'm going to go ahead, just because for practical sense, now that I've done all my syncing, I sort of put these in the order I sort of like them. Now, so the good thing is, in IvyLearn now, there's a bunch of places where the assignments are listed with due dates, and those should all be correct. So for instance, one place is when you create your syllabus, at the very bottom of the syllabus is like a list of assignments. Now, what they call it, course summary. And it's basically saying Sunday, June 13th, these assignments in Mymathlab are due. And then June 20th, these are the ones that are due. And June 27th, and the test is July 3rd. So the nice thing is, at the very bottom of the syllabus, we need to have a list of all the assignments for this class with the correct due dates. Well, when I grade synced all these items in from Mymathlab, it fills this out automatically. Something else that sometimes students might want to do is, there's an item on here called calendar. I think if I go to home, I don't use this a lot, but I'll view calendar right down here. Some students might want to actually view the calendar in IvyLearn. And I think what it should do now is, once again, it's like a calendar, and it'll tell you stuff that's due. In other words, right now it's saying June 13th, I got 4 assignments due. June 20th, these assignments due. So once again, it's like every place we look in IvyLearn now, all those assignments have due dates where they belong. Let me pause for just a minute, and I'm going to think and make sure now I've covered everything I want to tell you. So let me just pause this, and I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, there's one last thing I wanted to show you. I just checked on it. I wanted to make sure I knew what I was talking about. So if I go back into my class in IvyLearn, another thing that these online classes have, normally we spend a lot of time creating these modules. So once again, this class has 8 modules. So you have the instructor resources, but then below that, and then you have resources. But the thing for the students are, we have these modules. Here's module 1, there's a module 2, looks like they're all opened. And inside these modules are information and even links to homework assignments and all kinds of things. So what we try and do is, so for module 1, which is in a sense the first week, we have a quick overview. Students can open this, learn activities, some videos they can watch, but here's the whole key. They get down here under assignments and assessments, discussion board, and then you see this homework here. Now the nice thing is, if I click on this, it is actually, once again, going to take me into that homework assignment in Mymathlab. So it's like everything is sort of in sync. And if I were to choose in module 1, the quiz, it should open up the quiz in Mymathlab, and it does. So this is something I've learned in setting up a class that is actually pretty helpful. So once again, as I finish up here, a quick review was that when I'm first assigned a class, I open the class in IvyLearn and I do the BNC bookshelf and hit on the Learn courseware. The first time in, it's going to have me find the course ID and load it, and that's going to sort of create the class in Mymathlab. And that's when they'll send me the email saying your class has been created. Once that's done, then I go ahead and I go into Mymathlab and I go into the assignment manager, and then I put in all the correct due dates for all the assignments in Mymathlab. And once I've done that, then I go back to IvyLearn and I go into the assignments page. And then I'm going to sync in all the assignments one group at a time. In other words, I'm going to sync in all the homework assignments from Mymathlab. So you remember I moved the homework group to the top of the assignments page. Then I went into BNC bookshelf. I did a Gradesync. It gives me the list of all the assignments. I chose all the homework assignments. I clicked on the Gradesync button. After a few seconds, I went back into IvyLearn. Lo and behold, I opened up, looked at the homework group and assignments, and all the assignments are there with the correct due dates, and those links are all active to Mymathlab. Right, and then after homework, I did quizzes, and then I did the exams. And so now I have all the assignments in Mymathlab with the correct due dates. And then all those assignments with the correct due dates are also in IvyLearn. And in IvyLearn, I have all the links that are active that can take me directly into Mymathlab. So this is the method I've learned to set up a class. There may be even other things that people do that's even better, more clever, but I found this to be pretty helpful and wanted to share it with you all. So by all means, if you have any questions or suggestions, ways to do things even better, let me know, and we can all become experts in this. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to stop this recording now, and hopefully if this has been of help to you, let me know. All right, regards everyone.
If there are any questions or comments, feel free to just, send them in the chat or use the raise hand feature to let us know you'd like to ask your question. Next, I'm going to go ahead and pass things over to Eli so that Eli can walk us through the Pearson setup. Make sure you have.
Okay. Thank you, Jacob. You should, when you're teaching courses through these inclusive access courses, you should be receiving documentation from Pearson that you would use as an instructor, and a document that you can pass on to your students for how they access the course materials after you have gotten them set up. I'm just going to go over the instructor document today. It's filled with screenshots and short paragraphs, hopefully saving thousands of words with the pictures and making it fairly easy for you to follow the process. If you have any experience with MyLab and Mastering at all, let me quickly say, please do not use a MyLab and Mastering link to set up your courses. Please use the BNC link in your course shell to set up your materials, and it should be pretty painless at that point. So what you do is you go into your course shell and you look for that BNC bookshelf link in your left-hand navigation panel. And when you click on that, you should be presented with a tile that represents your course name and the textbook that you're teaching. Take a quick look at that to make sure that it is the correct book and course term that you're expecting. And if it is correct, click the Launch Courseware button. If it's not correct, reach out to your Pearson team and we'll get the correct materials to magically appear in your course shell. Just let us know as soon as you can. So once you click Launch Courseware, you may have to click on this box that says Authorize. This is a one-time process. You will need to let Barnes & Noble know, that you know, that Pearson knows, that all of you are working together to deliver your courses. So there's a couple of places where you'll have to authorize access, but you just click the button. You also may be prompted to accept Pearson's end user license agreement. I don't have a screenshot of that in the document, but it's pretty standard end user license agreement. Looks like that. You just click the button at the bottom to accept that. And then it will ask you to enter your Pearson credentials. And that's the final step to pairing your Barnes & Noble course access with the MyLab and Mastering course materials so that you can have a seamless process with your students. If you do not remember your Pearson account information, again, you can reach out to your Pearson team. We can help you with that. If you remember your username but not your password, you can reset that right here on this page, and it's an instantaneous thing. You don't have to wait 3 hours for that. But we can help you with that process in any way you have need. After you get the information for your Pearson account set up, the page will congratulate you, and we'll actually send off confetti and fireworks in our office every time that happens. And then you can click the Get Started button. So when you get started in your documentation, you would identify which course you're teaching and look at the course ID. And rather than when you go back, and let me quickly say, get started, what you will need to do is go back to your modules at the beginning of the course. You will click on the B&C bookshelf, you'll launch courseware, but when you do that, it will take you to a page where you can create a course from scratch or create a course copy. The select button that appears on that page is very tempting. Please do not click that select button. What you want to do is identify the course ID from the course that you're teaching, copy that out of the document, and paste that into this area down at the bottom. It says, prefer to copy an existing course based on these materials. You click that course ID in that field and click the magnifying glass search button, and another select button will appear below that, allowing you to select the course that has been set up for you to copy into your shell to teach the course. You will scroll down to the bottom once you've selected that and enter the course name, if you want a description, if you want instructors to copy it or not. The start date for your course can be no earlier than today, and the end date for the course should encompass final exams. You can set it out as far as you'd like past that, and then create the course. Once that's done, I believe you get a done button. It could take up to 3 hours for the course to completely create and populate. Generally, it doesn't take that long. And the way to find out is to, once again, in the same way that you do, we've done twice, your students will always do, you go to the B&C link, you launch courseware, and when you launch courseware, it should take you into, once the course is set up, it should take you into the home page for this inclusive access process. It'll have a gold button at the top that says Open MyLab and Mastering, have a picture of your textbook. There are 3 tabs across the top of this page: Home, which is the page that you get to when you launch this page. Gradesync is another tab we can talk about in a moment. And then there's a help and support page. And on this page, along with having this goldenrod button at the top that takes you directly into MyLab and Mastering, you also have shortcuts down in the left-hand tile down here for instructor tools. You can go right into your home manager or your assignment manager. Whatever link appears down here in instructor tools, you'll be able to go right into the Pearson course materials by clicking on those links. What you'll want to do after you get to this point, the first thing you would want to do, I believe, is go into assignment manager and make sure that the assignments are set up and assigned. When they're assigned, here's the links I was referring to. Once your assignments are assigned, you go into the Gradesync page and you want to check the box for automatic Gradesync to have that radio button. Select that if you want that turned on. If the assignments are active and assigned in MyLab and Mastering, they will automatically come over into your course shell. You can select all of them to sync, or you could select individual ones if you don't want them all to sync. And if you want to force that sync now, you click the Sync Grades Now. Once this column resolves from pending to synced, you will have a column in your gradebook for each one of these assignments. And the assignments will also the links to the assignments will also populate into your course shell in the assignments page, and you can manage the location of those assignments as you see fit. The Help and Support tab on that page allows you to get the diagnostics for your course. If you're in need of tech support, you can't get into your course. Students can't connect. You can't log in. There's all kinds of reasons why you might need somebody to help you, and Pearson has people on call 24/7 to help you with that. If you click on the instructor help here or the student help here, that's kind of a self-help area. But over here, if you click on the go to Pearson support, you can get to by chat, phone, email, someone in tech support 24/7. And if you were doing that, they may ask you for your diagnostic file. You get your diagnostic file by clicking on this Get Diagnostic button. When that page opens on the top right, you will see another button that says Download Diagnostic File. When you download that diagnostic file, it's just a text file that has the specifics about your course, no personal information about you, specific information about your course that you can attach to an email and send to the tech support person who is trying to help you. If you have any other need or any other questions about how to set up the course or how these things work, please don't hesitate to reach out. At the bottom of the document that you'll receive, they'll have all the contact information for the various people. Doug and Tanya will be deeply involved in making sure that you're successful with your course. I'm Eli Bernard. You can reach me at eli.bernard@pearson.com, and we'll make sure that your course is set up and functioning exactly in the way you like, so that you can have a successful term with Pearson MyLab and Mastering Materials. There you go, Jacob.
That was excellent. Thank you, Eli. Any other questions before we move on to stop talking about the course proper?
No questions.
Thank you, Debbie. All right, next, I am just going to give a brief tour of the completed course, just highlighting some of the things from the perspective of someone who works with a lot of these general course templates that we use. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So you should see pulled up a course that says Brief Calculus 2 at the top. I'll just be walking through some of the pages in the course, just kind of give a general impression of what's where and help you, get a good idea of, where you're going to go to find certain things or where you can go to find specific information. So the first thing that I'll note on the home page, one thing that I believe Carrie and Phyllis definitely would want me to point out is the course calendar located at the bottom. That document is there for you to provide to your students. That way they have a good impression of what the semester is going to be like for them. You can fill in the calendar at this document and then get rid of this text. That way text isn't showing up and you have that completed course calendar in there for your students. Next, I will hop on over to the syllabus. Scrolling down to the required text and materials, you'll see there's quite a bit of information in here about our inclusive access program. So students will be provided the materials for this course as included in their fees, so they won't have to purchase anything additional once they're registered for the course. There is opt-out information for students who might have the materials by some other means, perhaps having purchased it for Math 136 or Math 201, since these two courses use the same materials. And it is the Calculus and its Applications by Pearson with the MyLab code. As with many of our other math courses, there is a proctoring requirement for this course. There was information added this semester to the effect of having students submit their written information for the exam, so their scratch work, and we'll cover that as we go through this demonstration. There's several different types of assignments in here. So we have some discussions, which generally are sometimes logistical, sometimes focused on the concepts in the course, just an opportunity for students to kind of discuss with the instructor and other students things about the course content. There will be homework assignments assigned in MyLab and Mastering, quizzes assigned in MyLab and Mastering, practice tests, and exams. And then the grade distribution is as follows. Next, I will go ahead and go through the modules just to kind of give an overview there. So the first module is the Instructor Resources module. You'll note there's another comment at the top here asking not to copy this content. Since it's a inclusive access course, we consider the content to be protected given that any students can access the material just by having access to those cores. So we do ask that instructors generally be pretty careful with distribution of this content in any way. Next, we have the Math202 Instructor Guide. In the Instructor Guide, there'll just be a very brief walkthrough of how you can best facilitate your course. So there's some information about what Eli had already covered at the top here for integrating your course with MyLab. Information about personalizing your course, due dates, the proctored exams, the welcome announcements, and then the module by module breakdown, giving you some best practices for facilitating this course on your own. Next, there's the report course issue button. Should you ever have any issues with your course, feel free to click on this and this will take you to a form that sends any of your responses directly to Carrie, Phyllis, and myself so we can look into those for you. We have a survey. If once you've finished delivering the course, we always appreciate your feedback if you have any comments regarding the course design itself. A new document that we have for our new developments this semester is the instructor announcements document. This is sort of the say complement to the instructor guide, just giving you some general topics to talk about when you are making your weekly announcements as required by policy. So if I scroll down, you see Carrie and Phyllis have installed a basic welcome announcement, kind of walking through some of the ins and outs of the course. And then if you scroll down further, there will be some general bullet points on each one of the announcements that you can distribute each week. There's some sample responses for the discussions as you're facilitating those. And then we have all these guides that we were previously referencing. So the BNC bookshelf guide is for using the general textbook within the BNC bookshelf, but the one that you'll want is the Pearson MyLab Instructor Guide, which is the one that Eli had graciously just demonstrated for us. We also have our Proctoring Instructor Guide. Definitely recommend reviewing that prior to setting up any of your proctored exams. That way you have a good understanding of what's required for the semester. And then we will also have live assignments in all of our IvyOnline courses effective summer 2021, just as an opportunity to give students that optional chance to meet with their instructor in a kind of live format while the rest of the course is generally asynchronous. And then for students, they have the MyLab complement in their resources area. That I will roll into module 1. So the setup of a course is like Math 136 or Math 201 or Math 135 if you had ever taught any of those courses. Essentially, it'll be a lot of the MyLab content and discussions, and it's generally about it interweaved with the exams that show up in module 4 and module 8. So I will open up each one of these just to kind of give a general impression of those. So starting in the overview, we give a general impression of what students are going to be acquiring in this given module. So here we're talking about all of the specific skills that students will be acquiring here, as well as just a little introduction to what the module will be about. The learning activities will go into detail about what students will be doing in order to acquire those skills for this module, and also provide many video lectures, some of which were derived from the MyLab materials. The specific Pearson activities themselves will be linked from within the assignments and activities pages themselves. So when students navigate here, they'll see all the assignments that they need to complete. So students who follow the course in order by the pages will stumble into all the assignments and activities that they need to do. And we have our first example of a discussion. This is the introductory discussion. So general introductory discussion topics. And then the modules are split into an A-B structure. So the first half of the module will cover separate topics from the second half of the module. And again, going through these 3 items, we can see that they repeat for both of these halves of the module. And lastly, there's just a very brief next steps page, which tells students a little bit about what they just learned and what they're going to be learning in the next module. And then lastly, there is the introductory live meeting. This is created for students in order to give them that face-to-face experience with their instructor, just that one time at the beginning of the semester. We do ask that instructors do provide a little bit of their own information. That way they can effectively set up this meeting with their students, and more information on that is in the instructor resources module. As noted, the midterm exam is located in Module 4, and the final exam is located in Module 8. It is worth noting that there are I have to remember where they are, the scratch paper assignments. I believe those are located specifically within exam work submissions. And I think those are referred to explicitly within the modules. So as part of the proctoring process for math exams this semester, we are going to be asking students to upload their scratch paper within 1 hour of completing their assignment or their exams. That way that material is available for instructors to provide partial credit for any responses that students may have submitted. This is indicated in should be indicated in Module 4. It's in the modules discussion. I will follow up with Carrie and Phyllis to make sure that we figure out where that is. But again, there is that extra assignment for students to submit their scratch paper. That way they can receive any credit that they might deserve for any partial answers that they had on the midterm and final exams. And I believe that about covers it. Are there any questions regarding the overall design of the course or anything that anyone might? All right, excellent. Well, I will go ahead and bring this webinar to a close. Thank you once again for joining us. If you have any other questions about Math202, please feel free to contact Eli at the Ivy Tech team at Pearson.com, or you can also contact Carrie Huffman or Phyllis Wigman at hhuffman5@ivytech.edu or pwegman at ivytech.edu. And I'd like to thank Eli for your attendance here and for the demonstration that you gave us. And in post, I'd like to thank Carrie and Phyllis for their work on this course.